What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Today we are diving into what I believe is one of the most fun and strongest hunter builds in the Edge of Fate right now. This build takes full advantage of both new and old weapons, completely taking advantage and utilizing the artifact mods, and it has some serious survivability. We're going to be breaking down subclass choices, armor synergies, and weapons to maximize your damage, so let's get into it. First up, to break down the subclass, we are building around prismatic, focusing on our ability uptime as well as just survivability. For the super, I'm opting to go with Tether just because of its ability to debuff and the utility that it has. Now, any damage super here like Silence and Squall or your Strand super would be a fantastic pick, and it's going to pair well with our exotic of choice. I would just avoid Storm's Edge in PvE. Honestly, it is just underwhelming. Now for the grenade, we are going grapple all of the way. It is not just fun, it acts as a powerful melee, unravels targets, and it's going to proc Woven Mail through our exotic. Now for the aspects, we're opting to go with Ascension because it has that ability to give us Amplified, which gives us a 15% reduction to damage, as well as jolting nearby targets, all at the same time refunding melee energy. Now, Gunpowder Gamble did get a little bit of a rework here recently, so now any defeat, whether it's ability, solar, if it's not solar, it is going to build into your Gunpowder Gamble meter, and it's going to basically replace your grenade with an explosive charge. And also, this will proc Woven Mail because of that exotic. Now, even with the rework to Fragments, this still will allot you 5 Fragment slots, so here's what we're running. First up is Facet of Balance, so our light kills give us melee energy, and dark kills give us grenade energy. Then Facet of Purpose, so every time we pick up an Overshield, it is going to give us an elemental buff based on our super. Since we're going with Shadow Shot, it will give us a Void Overshield with every orb pickup. Now there's Facet of Protection for a 15% reduction to damage when we're surrounded, or that 32% when we're in Transcendence. Now, Facet of Hope here is one that I'm really loving because every time we're Radiant, we have an Overshield, or we're Amplified, our class ability will regen faster. Then lastly is Facet of Courage, which is going to buff our Arc, Solar, and Void ability damage against our Darkness debuff targets, which by unraveling them and severing them from our melee and our threaded spike, it is just a must-have pick in my opinion. Now, we've mentioned the exotic a few times, and we are going to be running an exotic class item. However, the regular exotic will work just fine as well, with the main perk being Spirit of Surturachne. This states every time we use our grenade, it will grant us 10 seconds of Woven Mail. It's going to proc off your grapple, your Gunpowder Gamble, as well as your Transcendence grenade, and that is 3 ways you're going to get a 45% reduction to damage. Now, secondary perk is entirely up to you. If you have Inmost Light, it is ideal for ability uptime. Unfortunately, this specific role has eluded me for a very long time, so I'm opting to go with Spirit of Galanor. It is going to return super energy on hits, which is going to synergize extremely well with our Tether, but you do have to be careful when using Tether, because if you shoot right away after you tether, you will not get the refund to super energy. It's a little bit buggy, but it is good to know. So use your tether, wait a second, it'll proc Galanor, then start doing damage. Now, artifact mods, we want to take full advantage because there's extremely good choices in here to use. First up is Flame, Fiber, and Freeze. This will combine Strand and Solar mods or Solar and Stasis mods, which will help you create Orbs of Power with just one mod. Now there's Tightly Woven, so when we have Woven Mail active, which is going to be all of the time, it is going to boost the regeneration of our grenade and our class ability energy. Now, Fever and Chill is, to me, a must-have perk here because rapid solar precision hits will grant you Radiant. Though what it does not say is rapid solar kills will also grant you Radiant. So when we're using our solar weapon like Sunshot here, we get rapid kills with it and it procs Radiant. Then there's Elemental Benevolence. Since we're running Ascension, every time we buff allies, it's going to give us class ability energy back. Now, Threaded Blast to me has to be one of the most fun artifact perks that has come back into the game recently. Every time we detonate a Tangle with Strand energy, it just detonates so much bigger and so much stronger than if you were to destroy it with anything that was not stasis. Now, one of the best perks here, in my opinion, is Cauterizing Darkness. So anything that is debuffed with strand or stasis, it will increase our solar weapon damage to that target. Pairing that with radiant, it is just going to buff it so well. Another must-have mod, in my opinion, is going to be Shield Crush. So when we have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or Avoid Overshield active, our melee will not only recharge faster, but it will deal increased damage. Also, while we're amplified or radiant, our grenade will recharge faster and deal increased damage. We're going to be either amplified or radiant the entire time, as well as having Woven Mail or Avoid Overshield up constantly. And of course, if you have full access to the artifact mod, you can toss on something like Radiant Shrapnel, so when you deal sustained weapon damage while you're radiant, or if you defeat scorched targets with a weapon, it causes that target to periodically release solar projectiles that just deal damage and scorch on impact. Now for the loadout, Mint Retrograde is going to be one of your best friends this entire time. It shreds, it works wonders with this build. If you've got Slice, you can debuff enemies, or if you've got Elemental Honing, you can easily proc it ×5 with the most damage possible just because you're on Prismatic. If you don't have Mint Retrograde, toss on something like Tenacious Mastery with Chill Clip, or even the Call with Slice, because those are both going to proc Cauterizing Darkness. Now, for the primary weapon here, we're opting to go with Sunshot. This exotic solar hand cannon is just utterly fantastic. It's going to grant Radiant, it's great for ad clear, and it will stun Unstoppables in the endgame. Now, if you don't want to use Sunshot, feel free to toss on something like Polaris Lance, another standout pick. Plus, by using exotic primaries, you're going to generate ammo even faster. Now for your heavy, it's really completely up to you. I prefer machine guns in lower end content, something like the Corrective Measure or the Watchful Eye, or even hell, Hammerhead from Back in Onslaught. It's extremely fun, it's reliable, but if you want to go for something with damage, toss on a linear, grenade launcher, or even a rocket launcher will suffice. Now, the stats I really opted to focus on here is mainly prioritizing our super regen above 85 if you can get it there. And if you want more ability damage, you can go into grenade, melee, and class. However, I don't really care too much with this specific build about building into those damage numbers. I would rather get our super back faster and even have as much weapon stat as possible. Because to me, and health here isn't a super big deal thanks to Woven Mail, Overshield, Faceted Protection, all the ways that we have damage reduction with this build. And for armor recommendations, there's not one specific set that I would say is necessary or a mandatory option, but I do think the Last Disciple armor set is a solid pick here. 2 pieces will grant you faster reload on primaries, and 4 pieces, just by picking up an orb, is going to grant you better special ammo regen, which is going to be really good for Mint Retrograde and its limited ammo reserves. Now for the armor mods, our helmet, we're of course going with a solar and a strand siphon, special ammo finder, then a void siphon, since we are using a void machine gun for this. That way, every single weapon we're using, we can create orbs of power on. Now for the gauntlets, we are going with heavy-handed to create orbs on those powered melee kills, then a melee font, so every time we pick up an orb of power, it is going to give us plus 20 in our melee stat. Chest piece, always want to recommend going with resistance mods based on the activity that you're doing. If you're doing on level or not as hard content, you can easily toss on a font mod or a strand reserve mod for your Mint Retrograde. For the legs, I'm opting to go with Absolution to increase all ability cooldown when we pick up an orb, a weapons font mod to give us plus 20 weapon stat when we get that orb pickup, and then since recuperation got absolutely gutted, we are going with Better Already, so our health will begin to regen immediately by picking up that orb of power. Now, class items, we can finally use the best class items with Ascension, because with that rework, Ascension now procs all of those good class item mods, so meaning when we use Reaper, we will get a orb of power off of a kill after we use Ascension, plus by using Ascension, Powerful Attraction will proc, giving us orb pickup within 12 meters. Lastly is going to be a special ammo finisher, so we can generate special ammo when we have full armor charges. But basically, how do we want to optimize this and how do we want to run it? For me, I enter a fight, we're using our class ability to proc Ascension, give us our melee energy back if we don't have our threaded spike, then throwing your threaded spike will sever a ton of enemies, causing them to do less damage to you, using our sunset to get those rapid kills, which will then trigger Radiant, and since you've severed enemies, it is going to create a Tangle, which you can of course grapple on or shoot with a strand weapon to create threaded blast and make it explode extremely big. But the best thing about it is once you use that grapple melee, you're going to proc Woven Mail. You can grapple onto the tangle so your grapple doesn't get lost. Pick up that tangle, throw it, use it as a movement tool, or just throw it into a group of enemies. And when you add dense activities, popping your super, waiting for Galanor to proc, and then just start doing damage, all while you're going to be generating back-to-back gunpowder gambles for a fantastic area of effect damage. Constant Woven Mail, constant Radiant as well as Overshields, making this Hunter build feel so much less squishy than most Hunter builds can feel. And there you have it, a top tier prismatic Hunter build that clears ads fast, has fantastic survivability, and delivers strong burst damage. Mint Retrograde is an absolute beast. Like I said, if you have Chain Reaction or Elemental Honing, does not matter if it's a tier 1, it is just one of the best weapons in the game right now. So if you don't have it, definitely start farming activities for it. Jumping into solo ops or fire team ops is completely worth it. And if you need help grinding, feel free to join our Discord, which is linked down below, and we are happy to help. As always, thank you so much for coming and watching, and I will catch you in the next one.